Defaced in Delray pentagrams painted on church doors. Virgin Mary statues desecrated. News Channel 5's Alex Hagan is live outside Our Lady Queen of Peace Church, where members fear the vandals might strike again. Alex?
Well, Michael, this is one of the statues that was vandalized. Take a look at her face, this Virgin Mary. You can see black paint on her face, but also look at her cloak. It is completely black. You can actually see the difference between the original color blue and what it was painted. Now, we're told this could cost hundreds of dollars to repaint. There's also two other statues on the grounds that were defaced. Now, the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office is investigating. They believe the vandalism happened either late last night, early this morning. Today, church members did their best to clean up the paint. However, we're told the statues may take extra work. Painters will have to be brought in. The church also received a disturbing phone call threatening more vandalism if the church cleaned anything up.
It's not a prank. It's devilish. It's irrespectful. It is hatred, I would say.
We don't want them to come back and do more damage. I mean, it's our church.
Now, the church hopes to clean up everything that was vandalized by this weekend for church services. In the meantime, deputies, they are patrolling the grounds to make sure this doesn't happen
Honolulu
again.
Turned into a crime scene after vandals caused thousands of dollars in damage. We've learned it's not the first time the church has been hit. Brent Romadno is at the scene with more. Brent?
That's right, Joe. We're here at St. Andrew's Cathedral, and we just spoke with church officials who tell us this is the second case of vandalism in the last 2 weeks. Now, you can see these windows here behind us, the most recent. Now, church officials say someone threw large stones through two of the cathedral's oldest windows, leaving shards of glass all over the place. Damage to the windows is estimated at $16,000. The church was closed today, and officials had to cancel an event that was planned for tonight. Now, church officials say they will make repairs, but don't understand why someone would damage the old cathedral.
We pray for that person. Actually, you can say we forgive that person, but it's disheartening to see something as beautiful and meaningful as our stained glass get damaged like that. So we hope this doesn't follow a trend.
The church was also vandalized last week on Monday. Now, I'm told someone walked in and damaged furniture and the church's harpsichord and other equipment, causing about $5,000 in damage. Now, police did arrest someone in that case. Now, as for the broken windows you see here, the Reverend tells me they are working with a stained glass expert who will be trying to repair them and get them back up.
The quake struck at a depth of 15 kilometers just east of the coastal city of Ilan. It was felt as far as 60 kilometers away in the city of Taipei. Buildings shook violently for about half a minute. Two aftershocks measuring magnitude 4.4 struck just minutes later. There were no immediate reports of damage.
Could cause even more destruction in the central United States.
Holy mackerel, there goes that.
At least 10 people were hurt after tornadoes touched down yesterday in western Kentucky. Twisters were also reported in Illinois and Nebraska.
More violent thunderstorms could hit the central and eastern United States today. Jerika Duncan is in Mayfield, Kentucky, where several buildings are damaged. Jerika, good morning.
Good morning. There is debris scattered throughout this entire community. Look at this car underneath this mound of wreckage. This pile is a result of a trailer home and an auto body shop that were instantly destroyed when the tornado struck.
Oh, look at that, Bob. Look at that. Look at that.
Fast-moving winds formed a funnel cloud over Mayfield, Kentucky within seconds on Tuesday. The storm damaged homes and businesses, narrowly missing several schools.
It was just, black as can be, and you could just see it. We seen the stuff come up out of the ground, come up in the sky.
Communities sorted through the damage into the night.
All I know is a tornado come through here. My parents, when I seen them, I just fell to my knees that they were okay.
Carol Lipp says her parents escaped their home just before the twister hit.
They both got out within 30 seconds. The neighbor knocked on their door, said there's a tornado. They made it from here to here.
Marty Winfrey helped get the couple to safety.
I immediately run to my neighbors and beat on their door and told them, I said, you got to get out. Now the tornado's right there.
About 100 miles northeast of Owensboro, hail and rain flooded streets and backyards. The severe weather is connected with a system that spawned violent tornadoes across southern Oklahoma on Monday, killing 2 people and leveling several homes. Brooke Carter was relieved her mother managed to survive.
She made it out alive. Her neighbor didn't, but we're just really glad that we have her, so all this stuff can be replaced.
Back here in Mayfield, those violent winds tossed cars around like they were children's toys. Look at this car just stacked right on top of this truck. Now, we counted in this parking lot at least 60 vehicles that were damaged by that tornado. And the worst of the weather is not over just yet. We're expecting more severe weather later today in the southern plains and in the Midwest.
A major volcano in Africa is showing signs of a big eruption. Mount Nyiragongo in the Democratic Republic of Congo is belching out lava, and that's happening every minute or so. Scientists say much of the lava is falling back into the volcano's crater, but that could change. Back in 2002, a major eruption killed 147 people and forced 400,000 to run for their lives. In that eruption, lava even flowed over the tarmac of the airport at nearby Goma. The main concern now is about more big lava flows, not a major explosion. I'm Danielle Banks, the Weather Channel.
Check out this ghost ship that recently washed up in Liberia. The vessel is called the Tamea 1, flying a Nigerian flag. No crew members were found on the ship. Officials are baffled at this find with no explanation of how it came to be. They do know that parts of the ship were burned and only one of the lifeboats were found on board, meaning another may have been used by that missing crew.
This is Marberawa, the main cultivating beach for Chiloé's witch clams. For years, these clam growers, or macheros as they're known here, say they were protecting their turf.
We were waiting for the clams to grow. It takes between 5 to 7 years for the right size, which we did. But when we began shelling a few days ago, the government declared the outbreak.
The government banned fishing in the area after a poisonous algae bloom called red tide contaminated the shellfish. Scouting the beach, the macheros say other species have also been affected by the contamination, including scavengers.
The fishermen say these crabs didn't die because of the red tides. They're convinced the salmon industry of this island is to blame.
Chile is the world's second largest salmon producer. 2/3 of the country's fish are farmed here in Chiloé. Last month, 4,000 tons of dead salmon were legally disposed of 130 kilometers off the coast.
When they learned they were about to throw away the salmon that would contaminate the ocean, we alerted the authorities, but they didn't hear us. And now, what a coincidence that a red tide began in the Pacific Ocean.
Scientists are investigating what caused the contamination, but they can't confirm the salmon were to blame. Miriam Seguel says the level of toxicity in the area's mollusks is 7,500% more than permissible for consumption. The damage is devastating.
The phenomenon is most likely to end in 2 or 3 weeks. The algae may disappear, but the shellfish will remain toxic for many months. They can't be eaten until they detoxify, and that depends on each species.
The macheros say they used to make nearly $600 a day. Now they are disappointed, unemployed, and uncertain about their future.
We had put our hopes in the business to have financial security for when we get old.
They say they hope at least a storm comes in to clean up the ocean so they can start fishing again. But they know even then they will have a long wait. Mariana Sanchez, Al Jazeera.
Happening now, beetles invading our county, wiping out thousands of acres of trees, pushing down property values and raising our fire risk, of course. Our meteorologist Craig Herrera tells you what you can do now to stop the spread.
This campground was once under a canopy of trees. Now, mostly stumps. Cuyamaca Rancho State Park.
When you stood underneath here, you'd have trouble seeing the sky because of the density of the oak trees that were here.
A different scene from just a decade ago.
Most areas where people live in really nice oak woodlands are challenged now with this problem.
Our county,
these beetles can basically damage or kill half of the trees in 3 years.
Is being invaded by the gold-spotted oak borer.
So what we're looking at is a loss of recreation, a loss of wildlife, a loss of aesthetics, you name it.
A beetle coming from Arizona.
If you own property in Ramona, your house is going to decline when these trees are all dead.
Transported by firewood.
We tell people don't move firewood, and yeah, and by the way, don't move firewood. It's been the crux of the problem.
75,000 acres of oak woodlands in San Diego, gone. The beetle does damage to the outer layer of the trees.
In a drought year, that damage is enough to keep the tree from being able to pull water and nutrients up in August.
Not only beautiful, trees help us breathe. According to the Arbor Foundation, a mature leafy tree produces as much oxygen in a season as 10 people inhale in a year.
It's sad that these trees are going, you know, they're legacy trees.
It also means the fire danger goes way up.
Now as the trees die, what grows up underneath them?
Grass. More fuel for fire. At Green Valley Campground, I'm meteorologist Craig Herrera, 10 News.
Craig also tells us well over 100,000 trees from San Diego to Ventura County have been killed by these beetles. The insect is smaller than a penny, but it can wipe out up to 90% of trees in one area.
The mayor of Denver, the latest target of the worldwide hacking group Anonymous. That group has been very vocal, supporting the homeless and calling for an end to the massive sweeps of homeless camps here in Denver. We first broke that story in late March. Well, Denver 7 reporter Mark Boyle is on top of all of this. Mark, you're told things have not improved on the streets of Denver.
That's right. And the homeless people actually tell me the sweeps are hindering their ability to survive here on the streets, as advertised by this sign right here. We asked homeless people, though, what they think about the Anonymous group supporting them. They say they need all the help they can get. The international hacking organization known as Anonymous is at it again.
Greetings, Mayor Michael Hancock.
In this video released today, Anonymous is taking sole aim at the mayor of Denver.
We have been patiently waiting for you to respond to our most recent request, but we find ourselves growing impatient of your foot dragging.
The organization is asking for an end to the homeless sweeps, as they have for nearly 2 months now. But that's not all.
You have ignored the endless deaths by law enforcement on the streets of Denver. You have allowed over 200 children to die under the supervision of CDHS.
Flashback to our exclusive interview with 2 Anonymous members in late March. They spelled out who would fall under attack.
To be honest, the main person to be pretty concerned should be the mayor and the Downtown Denver Partnership, and probably the governor.
And the group is now following through with those threats in their most recent video.
Do you perhaps remember the Black Book from the Denver Players Club? The prostitution ring that was uncovered back in 2008.
Those widely reported allegations were never substantiated, though. Nevertheless, the threats continue to pour in from Anonymous, and they may be long from over.
It's time to put Mayor Hancock's proverbial money where his mouth is. Do your research to dig and leave no stone unturned.
Well, we've been talking with the mayor's office today. They say that they haven't had any sites that were hacked today. We also reached out to the Downtown Denver Partnership, who says they're not going to comment on this. We reached out to Albus Brooks, who says he hasn't had any specific threats against him. We asked Anonymous if there's anything new in this. Those comments haven't been returned yet. We will have much more on this tonight at 6. We're live downtown. Mark Boyle, Denver 7.
The RS-28 Sarmat, dubbed Satan II by NATO, has been widely reported to have a top speed of 7 kilometers a second and an expected range of nearly 10,000 kilometers. This would allow Moscow to attack European cities as well as reaching cities on America's west and east coasts. And it's also reported the missile could destroy an area the size of France or Texas. The Sarmat has been designed to outfox anti-missile shield systems. According to the Daily Mail, the Russian Defense Ministry plans to put the Sarmat into service in late 2018 and remove the last SS-18 missile by 2020.
When Athens Hellinikon Airport closed 15 years ago, no one imagined its doors would one day reopen as a refugee camp. People here told us they thought they'd be in transit for a day or two. Instead, many have been here for months.
The borders are closed. The people, the refugees who are coming from the other countries to live in a peace place, to have a good life, and they are still now in Greece.
Airports mean one thing, don't they? Travel. And perhaps in the case of this airport, the old Athens airport, holidays as well. I passed through here on a number of occasions going on holiday on the Greek islands. But for these people in all of these tents, sitting in these abandoned terminal buildings, well, they're going nowhere at all. It's costing the local municipality money it can ill afford, and not a single euro, according to the mayor, has come from central government or anyone else. The mayor told me he's furious at Europe's indifference to the fate of the refugees. Do you accept the likelihood that these people are here now to stay?
No. No. No, because we are not Germany, we are not Russia, we are not another country with strong power. Είμαστε μια χώρα φτωχή.
We're a country that is poor and a people that is struggling to survive. We have a lot of our own problems, which unfortunately I don't see being resolved.
But there is no solution in sight, and among the thousands of refugees trapped in Greece, like these waiting in vain for the northern border to reopen, patience is almost exhausted. The migration minister admits Greece needs help, but he doesn't sound particularly hopeful of getting any.
I'm working day by day. This day make me optimist for tomorrow. Tomorrow will make me optimist or pessimist for the day after tomorrow. The work that we have to do with Europe is to make the conditions better we can for those people that are trapped here.
In the meantime, there's little to do but wait. And they'll wait in an abandoned airport lounge for a departure that may never happen. Jonah Hull, Al Jazeera, Athens.
Revolt in the streets of Paris. Protesters say they're angry that French President François Hollande forced through labor reforms, with his socialist government surviving a no-confidence vote Thursday. This bill aims to make it easier for employers to hire and fire workers. Philippe Martinez, head of the CGT union, says the bill was imposed on the people without any dialogue with labor unions.
They're showing us what their idea of dialogue is. Let's move by force. Let's try and scare workers and the young, the people. They should look at the polls because over 70% of the people in this country are against this bill.
The union announced a wave of transport strikes in the coming days, and the street protests, which began in late March, are showing no signs of relenting. This resistance has left a deeply unpopular Hollande in an uncomfortable position a year from elections.
want to talk about an amazing picture. This is easily one of the coolest pictures I've seen in a long time, and what you're actually seeing there is hail, all that really bright stuff falling out of that storm, Colorado Springs, on Tuesday. The dark stuff is rain, the light stuff is hail, and there was plenty of hail that fell out of that storm. And you can see these guys in Falcon, Colorado, not far from Colorado Springs. You can see the sun actually starting to peek out behind the people taking the video, and that's why you can see the bright color of the hail, because the sun is actually reflecting off of those ice particles. You see the dark stuff back here is all rain, but the light stuff is hail. Sunlight refracts through rain, but it'll reflect off of the hail, and some of it also refracts through on the other side. But you want to talk about just an amazing view there. You can see the hail on the ground down here, the people driving through not only kind of flooded roadways, but it's also got a lot of hail there as well. I can tell there's been some editing done on this picture, but look, I don't think it's a ridiculous amount. It's a very legit picture and very, very cool.